All right, folks, this is a Honda 200 SX. Right here it is on the side. It's a two-wheel drive 1986 Honda, and this is how I got it. There's a couple pieces laid out. Fuel tank's over there by the tripod. WD-40 from another project. I don't really have any good format here. My first video series here. Somebody's been in here before. I got the brake drum taken off. I don't know the brake drum and the cover, and this wheel. I don't think that wheel is so good. It's got a nice hole in there, but yeah. So this four-wheeler, like I said, is a 1986 Honda 200 SX. So I bought it from a guy on one of those bargain sites, and he told me that he got it on trade and that it should run fine. So we're gonna kind of give it a go here. It's got pretty basic. It's got a choke up here to help start it, a power switch, and then most of the controls are just like every other Honda. They're over here. You got your kill switch for the engine, the starter, and the high and low, and the lights on. I don't really imagine much is going to be working because the front looks pretty bad here, and then we got the rear light here. It looks like it's seen some better days, but we're gonna see if we can get it to run. Again, this guy said that it should run if it's put back together. I just got her pulled in here to my shop. We're gonna see what we can come up with. So I got you guys put up here on the tripod so we can see the Honda here as I take off some body panels. We can kind of talk about what I got and what I don't have. We got the front fender here. It's missing some pieces right here. I'm guessing this whole girl's had a rough life, obviously, before I got it. It's in a lot of pieces here, so we'll see what we got. Like I said before, the fuel tank's right here. I did take that off. Let's see if we can see what you can see and see what I can see here. So we got the fuel tank right here, and oh, that is maybe not ideal. We got quite a bit of rust in there. It's kind of hard to see. You try to put the light where you can see but not be in your way, but it looks pretty rusty. So the whole tank kind of looks like that. We'll have to see if we can get that to clean up, or not really wanting to spend a lot of money on this project. I didn't get it for very much money, and I don't like to spend a lot of money on projects if I don't have to. So let's just see what else we can find here. That tank doesn't look so good. Got the cow piece here. Maybe I can get it off in one piece. I don't know. Got some nice moss patina here. I don't know if people are into that, but the inside looks really good. Pretty clean. Maybe just some pressure wash to get the growth off here, and we'll see what we can do with that. That might be okay. I mean, I'm probably gonna run these fenders. I just set them over here, but I'll probably run those two. You know, can't be spending a bunch of money on this project. Sorry for the organization here. Everything just kind of gets put someplace, and that's just where it sits. So we got the seat. Now, the seat used to be blue at some point. It's been recovered in black, and it probably needs recovered again because it's real brittle. Yeah, there's the blue. So you can see the blue, maybe. Say that looks more original, but it's got some tape on it. Maybe needs some work. Wax works, that's good. I'm guessing even if I go so far as to turn this key on, we're not going to get much action here because this thing's been tore apart. So maybe we'll get all the body panels off and check this battery and see what we've got. So again, nothing's attached. That's good. Ooh, there's some goodies in here. Got some more faded plastic, maybe some kind of goodies right there. Some critter left for us. Let's see what goodies we got in here. So in here, looks like we've got one of the wheel caps. Got one of those. Some bolts, some wheel lug nuts. Maybe these are the ones that hold the body on. There's a spring. I don't know, cotter pin. I don't know, just kind of a big assortment here. We'll keep those in there for safe storage. Maybe those will be helpful later. You guys might be able to see what I'm seeing. So right here, the carburetor is not attached. That's probably a pretty ideal. Obviously the fuel tank was not attached. I already had it sitting off to the side. The guys gave it to me that way. We got the battery, it's all disconnected. And then check the voltage one more time. I don't think it's going to change, but at least maybe you'll see it on screen this time. I'll put it right there. Take some readings. 5.45 this time, so we might get that out and try to charge it up. But I got a car battery and some jumper cables. We might be able to try to get this thing to start. Must be some new thing, I don't know, those wireless coil controls. It's just been hanging out since I bought it. So we probably will have to see what's going on with that. Here's the main wiring. It's just kind of hanging out too. I don't know if there's anything missing. You guys check it out. On the control front, the brake lever for the rear brakes doesn't work, and just like every other Honda I've ever seen, the front brake hydraulics, it doesn't work. We'll see about getting those working. I'm not looking for anything crazy, putts around the yard. But I think a 200 would be fine for the price. We might be okay. So, where to start? Well, let's take a look at the carburetor. Alright, well, here's the carburetor and the main needle. And I don't know, she looks kind of dirty. Pretty not well kept. Seems to be a missing air idle screw right here. Should be something there to keep it going. Does have a choke. That seems to be working with the spring return. That's good. Let's go ahead and get it open and see what we can find out. Got to keep all your spare parts, little parts in containers. It's always good to keep them from getting lost. And you might be able to tell I got lots going on. I never quite finished a project, but this is what I'm going to try to finish and get through. So we'll try to keep all these little parts together and see what we can come up with. Well, these are not real tight. That's always a good sign too. So we got the needle and the slide and the spring. We'll put them all in there for right now. Now that's nice and loose. Okay. Ooh. I don't think it's supposed to look that black. Usually it's supposed to be pretty clean. Since they've went to this ethanol and the fuel, it looks like somebody had ethanol or just never really cleaned this carburetor. It's okay, but it needs cleaned. It definitely could use a cleaning. So we got that. Let's see if we can get this float out. It should be pretty simple. Let's see. That's good. It seems like it's moving. Get a smaller screwdriver over here. Maybe push it out. So we got the pen, got the floats here, the needle. It doesn't look, see if I can get this up here where you can see it. It doesn't look too bad. Let's put the floats in there. Let's see. It doesn't look too bad, but it's dirty. Everything's dirty. Gotta find another screwdriver, guys. If you're watching this, you guys are probably like me. You got 100 different screwdrivers, but you can't find the one you want right when you want it. So let's see if we can get this tore apart. That's the main jet. I can see through it. That's always a good sign. But set that off to the side here. And, ooh, it was a little tight. There, it freed up. Hopefully it's not cross-threaded or anything. It's sorry, I think, yeah. There's your secondary jet, I believe. I don't have any service manuals for this stuff. I just kind of tinker with it and figure it out. So, I got one more thing here. It looks like we can take off. It's like 1.5 or 1 turn out. So, whatever this adjustment is, we'll try to go back to that when we put it back together. I know there's pros out there, and everybody's going to tell you that you're doing this wrong, and I'm just, like I said, I'm just looking for some little project to do here. It's got an O-ring on it and a spring out of that passage. So that goes, must go down here to the bowl. I'm by no means an expert on any of this stuff, but can clean it and can put it back together. I can't imagine I'm going to do this thing any worse than it's already seen in its life. But we got that apart. It'd be nice if we found that spring for the idle, but I think this stuff's all going to take a dip. It's going to take a dip in one of those carb cleaning buckets. Alright, well, just went and pulled this out. And then I was looking at the, remember I was talking about the spring and the screw in the glove box in the back of the quad? Well, it looks like that's the air idle adjustment screw with the spring, so that's good. Let's just see if it fits. I don't really need the spring right now. Yep, that looks like that's the one we're looking for. It goes in there, and let's see if I can get it lined up. You can see if I turn it in, it holds that slide open further, keeps the slide from going down so far. So the less you have it in, the more the slide closes and it slows your idle down. So that's good, we found that. Trying to source one of those is not hard. I just don't want to wait to see if I can get it running. But before we really put a bunch of money in this thing, got this carb cleaner here. I've never really used one of these. I've seen them used quite a bit. I think you're supposed to take off everything you can. Can't get this clutch or the choke lever to come off. Well, maybe it's coming. It did come off with the spring right there. Alright, well, we're going to get this all apart and put into the bucket here and let it soak for a while and see if we can't get this to clean up. We got the basket here, towel down for it. I'm going to load this thing up with all of the goodies. Got some adjustment screw, put that spring in there, I don't know. I might leave the clutch or the choke arm out. We got maybe something like that, just so it's not sealed up. We want this stuff to really soak in here. So there, I think we got it all in the basket. We're just going to set it in here for a while. We'll leave her in here for a while, see what it does. Oh, do not soak coated or sensitive aluminum parts over 4 hours. Okay. Submerge. We got the basket in there and allowed to soak 15 to 30 minutes. Okay, well, we can probably come up with a few other things to do while this thing's soaking. We'll just close it up so stuff doesn't fall in. And let's go over here and see what else we can do. So this is the negative or the ground, and this has a little positive cover. It looks like it's been outside for 10 years, so that's good. I got a car battery here. There's a jumper cable, so we'll put the car battery down here. got it facing the same way as the ATV battery would be. Put the ground positive. Whoop, geez, watch out for that. We got the ground here, and we got the positive here. I know it's got a pull start, but before we really get going, I don't really want to pull start this thing 100 times. I have seen one of these before with a kickstart, and that seemed like it kicks pretty well, but these pull starts are a little bit different. I just would rather not pull it a whole bunch because I'm lazy and just like to use the electric start if it could. But before we get any further here, let's look at the oil. So we got the oil here. Well, it's in the window. Bring it up here so you can see. We got some oil. It's kind of halfway between the marks. It looks pretty dark, but I think for what we're trying to do right now, it'll be fine. We can get on changing it later on after it runs a little bit, if it runs. But to really run it, we're going to need the carburetor, and that just went into the soak, so I don't really want to wait on that. Let's see what we can do here. Guy was real adamant that this thing had a key, so it should work. No neutral light. Let's see here. The lights. I don't know if you can see that. Look at that. The headlight's on. Go over here and just flip the switch. I am real surprised. Oh, smoking a little bit. That's probably fine. Look at that. Yeah, there it is. Huh. Well, I don't think I'm going to lose all my sleep over that. Let's see here. Oh, the rear light's working too. Yeah, get the tail light working. There's the battery setup. Like I said, just like the old ATV. Got it in the same orientation. We got the wires in case you're unsure. So we've got power. That's good. Oh, the headlight went out, but the tail light's still on. Maybe the headlight burned out. I don't think it's like the real prize winner here. Yeah, I think, ooh, she's hot, but I think it burned up. So yeah, oh, I forgot about this. Got the coil that's laying here. Apparently I'm assuming they don't just hang here. I never owned a 200 SX, but I think there's a bracket here that looks like it goes in, and some wires that are color coded, green and black, so I would assume that those match up. Let's put this in here and see if we got spark. So put this in here. Okay, we got that. The spark plug's in there, so let's see if we can get that out. Wrench, socket. Like I said, I don't know much about this, haven't done much with it, but we got a RA6HC Champion spark plug in this guy. It looks pretty black, but for testing spark here, it ought to be okay. I don't think that's going to be a problem. So we'll put this up here, ground it against this head bolt. That looks like a good spot. And I guess I could probably pull it. Oh, look at that. It pulls real easy because there's no spark plug, but I don't know if you can hear it either, but we've got spark. Let's try this again. That'd be okay. Let's put the spark plug back in here and trick. Make sure we drop it before we put it back in. trick I always try to use putting the spark plug in is use the socket just by hand as far as you can, so that you don't have to try to hold on to that ceramic insulator the whole time. I'm not into torque specs. It's tight enough in there for now. We're just going to kind of do a little trick I've seen before for testing if these things will run. So we've got spark. We don't have a carburetor. We do not have the carburetor. It should be right in this area right here. We should be having the carburetor, but again, it's in the bath, taking a bath. So something I've seen work before is you put a little starting fluid in there. Just whatever starting fluid you got, some good stuff, and you choke that off. You put your fingers over this and see if we can get it to run. Let's give it a shot. So get a little bit in there, and then choke that and give it the electric start. Well, that's easy enough. It does run.